This is Straight Talk with Roger Hunt Unscripted. I am your host. Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Straight Talk with Roger Hunt Unscripted. I am your host, Roger Hunt. Today, I welcome our viewers here in St. Louis, Missouri to Straight Talk with Roger Hunt Unscripted. And as you know, this show will feature various topics, whether it be in entertainment, religious, gospel subject matter, topics that will inform, inspire, and educate our viewers to give positive insight on things that are going around in our society today. One of our special guests that we have today on Straight Talk with Roger Hunt Unscripted is none other than Brother Andre Edwards. We want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And just so you know, our viewers, Andre is one of these people that has come up through the ranks, not only here in St. Louis as a child, but also through the ranks of our military, and then also one of our major corporate carriers here in St. Louis. But I'm going to let Andre, tell us a little bit about something about himself. First of all, thank you for serving our U.S. military. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And that's always an honor and a privilege to have you protect and serve our country for who knows what may happen, and especially in today's times such as these that we live in. But go ahead and tell us something about yourself, Andre. I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking. I'm just going to listen here, man. Just have some fun with you.
Well, in a nutshell, I was born and raised here, predominantly here in St. Louis. Born in Pruitt-Igoe housing projects. Pretty much as most blacks did, we carried the flight out north in the northern area once the projects were destroyed. Grew up in a pretty much a very, very poor family. Lost some people along the way through trial and tribulation. Got in trouble for the last time, according to the judge, who gave me a choice to go either to jail or go to military. Obviously, I chose the military, and it was maybe God's grace. It straightened me out, turned me around, and it led me to a great career in the military, a great career with major carrier you spoke of earlier, a great career with my restaurants, my buildings, my rental property, my books. It turned me around, made me a contributor to society versus somebody who takes something away from it.
Now tell us now, and I didn't grow up in the projects, and I hear people often talk about the projects coming up through St. Louis. I understand some rough living area, rough quarters, and you see it on television, but to actually live and experience living in the projects, what was that like coming up as a kid?
If I had to sum it up in one word, it was fear. Every day of your life, just going down the steps to the bus stop was you're afraid. My mom coming home at night, getting raped in the hallways, and my brothers getting killed. It was always fear. It's always fear.
Man, and sorry you have to kind of relive some of that, though,
Yeah.
but a lot has changed in those areas that once were and housed the projects here in St. Louis. Tell us now, you served in the U.S. Was it the Army?
The Army.
The Army?
United States Army. I went in the Army. Like I mentioned earlier, I had a choice. I went in the Army at exactly 17 years of age, and took the major tests to get in there, and ironically scored high enough on those tests to have a choice between either air traffic controller or a military policeman. But if you remember during that time of Reagan, that's when he had just laid off all the air traffic controllers. So obviously that wasn't a good choice for me, so I chose to be a military policeman. That led me into CID, which is Central Intelligence Division, which is similar to the FBI out here. From there, did my stint, went back to the major carrier you spoke of earlier, worked my way up from there as well, and pretty much simultaneously had a dual career. When I wasn't working for the major carrier, then I was doing my bounty hunting for the government to track down certain people, and I did that, and did it well.
Now, I was going to mention the bounty. You were a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And that was for the government, correct?
For the government and also in the personal
Private.
life as well, private life as well.
Okay.
For any lawyers or attorneys that had somebody on the run.
Now, tell us something a little bit about being a bounty hunter. Not that you have to disclose any other the individuals or anything. What did that entail?
It entailed, most times most lawyers have what they have to apply with each state to have a certain amount of money put on. It's almost like an insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to say bail you out of jail, you have a certain amount of time to appear back in court. If you don't do that, the state takes that money out of that guy's coffers.
Wow.
If you continue to do that, then you can actually bankrupt a certain attorney, especially a smaller one. Larger firms, they have a little bit more leeway. So what they'll do is hire certain people to go at no cost, at all costs, I should say, go and find this individual in a certain amount of time. The great thing about it is that it's not like on TV. It's a vicarious position to be in. The sad thing about it is that you don't have to read them on Miranda rights. Once you violated a parole, you in effect since 1905, you don't have any rights anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to read you any of Geneva Conventions, any of your rights. I have to simply say you're going back. The choice is yours, whether you go back breathing or not. That's a choice they make.
Wow. Now, not only did you come up through the projects of St. Louis, endure some rough times, some tough times as a kid, and as a young man, you see you got into some trouble. And the judge gave you a choice of going into the military or going to be incarcerated. I understand not only did you do the military and then the career, but you're a very successful entrepreneur. You had the Ebony Beauty, one of your salons, and then A&R Exterminators.
Yeah.
So now, how old were you when you did those businesses?
It was kind of funny because I went into the military. As I said before, I went as a military policeman, and then between the military police job and the actual CID job, you have this leeway. You come out for a while. Hadn't seen. I got married on one of the times coming back home, and had not seen my kids or anything for quite a long time. So I get back, and the girl I had married, her mother owned a beauty shop in New City. She didn't want the shop anymore, so at 19 I bought it.
Wow.
Didn't know anything about her. Still don't know anything about her. But I knew business, so I told all the women who worked there, I'm going to change everything, the format of advertising, get your cards, and you pay booth rental once a week.
Wow.
The catch was making sure you get your booth rental on Saturday, because on Sunday you don't have it. Monday they don't close.
Right.
If you don't have it by Tuesday, you got to wait another week.
Wow.
So it was ironic that it was a good learning experience for me, because we went from I think the first year in business, she had made approximately $67,000. We went from $60,000 to $90,000 the first year. So we did real well.
So sharp young businessman coming up through the ranks. I mean, and when you look back, you say the struggles that you encountered, but coming up as a teen, it made you become a man real quick. Responsibilities and all of that. I was going to ask, mom and dad. You mentioned your mom. Was dad anywhere around?
No. My mother. We had a lot of children. A lot of us. She left. My father, we all, it's that same old story. We all have different dads. Mm-hmm. But my mom left when I was probably 2 years old. Mm-hmm. As I aged and grew up and came back, my mother told me, if anybody can find your father, it's me. I found my father at 41. Mm-hmm. But I only had a short-lived time with my father.
Okay. So, you mentioned your mother being involved, but you didn't mention anything about your dad, What was going on with your dad, or was your dad involved in your life?
Well, it's ironically, like as I mentioned earlier, it's the same old story. I mean, typical black growing up. All of my siblings, we pretty much all have different fathers, except me and my sister, and another two have a father, another two have a father.
And how many siblings were there?
Total it was 7.
7, okay.
And so, as I was doing the military and other stuff for the government, and then working for the major carrier here in St. Louis, I came home one time for a stint, a little leave, and my mother said, if anybody can find your father, you can. Because we had not known where he was at. I left when I was 2 years old. My mother threw us all in the back of a car and said, we got to leave, he's going to kill me. So we left. So I didn't know him, didn't have any time with him. At about 41 or 42 years of age, I believe it was, I found him. But I only found him and had spent maybe a total of 2 hours with him in 3 months, and then he was killed. So it's that same old story.
Okay. And there's 7 siblings. Where were you?
I was a baby boy.
You was the baby boy?
Yeah.
So we got something to come. Well, I'm baby boy. Now I'm number 7th in the family. There's 8 of us though, but I'm baby boy number 7. That's a chosen one anyway. So that's a chosen number. Right?
Chosen
so
number,
must be a reason for that.
Yeah.
Now tell us about we talked about the beauty. Talk about the exterminator business. How did that come about?
Well, I was at home again on the stint, and I was down in the city visiting some of my relatives. And every time you go, certain environments remind you from whence you came. Mm-hmm. So when I was in the projects, you turn the lights off it looks the wallpaper moving. That's how many roaches it was. You follow me?
Yeah.
And so here I was, had grown myself and become a little bit better, and moved out of that environment. But whenever I would go back to visit one of my relatives, that same scene reminded me when I was poor.
Wow.
So I said, it's got to be something better. So the girl I was married to, name was Renee. So I went to class up at Jeff City real quick, got a license, paid some money, and out of the back of an old Mustang, we called it A&R Exterminators. And within 3 years, we came from nobody to virtually doing every home in the city. Because we would do an entire home, including the basement, at an unheard of price for $30.
Wow.
And we would tell them that, your roaches don't always come back. They've been here since dinosaur days. But we'll come back every 90 days and we'll keep them at bay. And we did that.
Oh, wow. Wow. Repeat customers. There you go. Now, so not only an entrepreneur, U.S. military personnel, bounty hunter, you're also a noted publisher, an author.
Yeah.
Your first book that you did was Too Black When Your Color Gets in the Way.
Correct.
What in the world is this all about? And I saw this when I came into your establishment, though. But I want you to talk a little bit about the book and understand that it's kind of controversial, as you say it is.
Yeah, it's real controversial. During the time of growing up, we all learn from our mistakes, and we learn from our past. And so because I had lost so much growing up in regards to family members, every year somebody was getting killed or going to jail. And I became the last man standing. And so people were asking me to come out and speak at certain places, like at schools or WashU or whatever, colleges and in jails in particular. And every time I would do that, you find your gifts. I realized there were people who thought I had a special gift for motivating people, and I started doing that. The book came along as a compilation of all the things I had been talking about for 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And so that's what it was. It talks about all the controversial things that blacks do as blacks that they should not be doing under the guise of being black, which is why I named it Too Black When Your Color Gets in the Way. When you do things that you shouldn't be doing, but you say, I can do what I want because I'm black, that's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for ignorance, and that's what I try to help people with. It became controversial because it upset a lot of people who were reading certain chapters about what's in the name. You can't ask America to say, protect us and make us right, and you give your kid a name like Kamuka Jackson.
Right.
You can do that, but it's a problem with that.
And say, we were talking earlier off camera about the situation that happened with our president.
Yes.
And with the comedian being black, and making a comment toward our most respected, supposed to be the most respected office in the land. There's no respect for a person. We all should be respected, regardless of what race, creed, or color we are. But even with that incident there, that we just tell our viewers, a comedian basically said the N-word in a comment situation with our president, and it was just a lack of respect.
A total lack of respect.
Irregardless that you are a comedian, we know, all jokes aside, that doesn't give a person the right to say, well, I'm going to use this in this context and this setting. But again, being the president, not only did you not disrespect the president, but you disrespect your own self, your own people. Because when we as a people use that, we sometimes we don't get offended because it's okay.
Term of endearment for us.
But when other people use it,
we get upset.
It's offensive.
Yeah.
They're racist or whatever. I mean, so in other words, one way to avoid all of that is not to use it at all.
Yeah.
But even in that situation, because too black to be black, does that make it right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it did make it right.
Right. It did. Right. Exactly.
It does. So
we have situations like that. That's a current day situation. Goes back to the mentality. I can say what I want
because I'm black
and do what I want
because he's black.
Because I'm entitled to.
I'm entitled.
Right. I'm entitled to say it gives me that right, but it doesn't. I understand you have another book coming out as well. Later part of this year.
Yeah, it'll be out the latter part of November. It's entitled. Ironically, Where Did I Leave Off? This book caused so much controversy. A lot of blacks wanted to call in radio stations around the country, wanted to kill me over a book. But the idea, the good thing about that is that it touched them, and that's all I try to do is change people through motivational ways, and not just talk. We're about to talk, but do it in a way that people can see that you came from here to here on true grit. You know what I mean?
And get
it done.
It's almost like a reality check.
Yeah,
it's a reality check, and it is almost like a preacher in the pulpit. The preacher says something that's in the Word, not that you're talking to you directly, but it hits something in the gut, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you talking about me?
Exactly.
How dare you?
Exactly.
You know, you say
Yeah.
something about me, and that's when all the threats and the intimidation
Yeah.
factor starts
Exactly.
coming out
Exactly.
towards you. You know, not that you were, you know, directly pointing to them, but if something in your life is not right, you know, hey,
Fix it.
maybe it's a wake up call for you.
Yeah.
You know, take a look at yourself.
You know, my email address is find face fix, and that was always in law enforcement. It was find the person, make them face the charges, and fix it. In life, is find your problem, face it, and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
We all have problems. I mean, nobody's perfect.
Right.
We have problems. But the strongest word in the dictionary, I tell my kids, I've told people in my audiences, whether they pay $25 to hear me, whether they pay $100. The strongest word in the dictionary is effort. You
Mm-hmm.
apply the effort to anything you do in life, you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You'll be okay.
So now where we're at right now, another one of your successful businesses, because it was recommended to me.
Yeah.
By the way, I say the best part. I say the best for last. Andre's Ribs.
Andre's Ribs.
You know, I was speaking to a colleague of mine, and I said, you know, I got a taste for some great tasting barbecue.
Yeah.
Where can I go? And your name was the first name to pop up, man. And seemingly where I live at in the metropolitan area, you say, well, it's all the way over south, and you know, I said, well, I don't care, I'll drive wherever it is. If it's some good barbecue, I'm going to drive to get it. And man, I have to tell you, man, it was awesome. We're at Andre's Ribs right now, is where we're filming at, and you know, it's an honor and a privilege to be with this brother here to kind of talk about all that he's done. We didn't even talk about your motivation. We'll get to the motivation part because you do some awesome work in motivation. I like the one you said about tithes and offering too. So we can put some church in here as well too. So we can do the church part too. But I want you to share that story too, if you don't mind. But tell us about what got you started with Andre's Ribs, and I mean the delicacy that you process and then preparing the ribs and the pork steaks and the chicken and the Polish sausage, and I mean, man, all of it. I mean, it's good. It's awesome.
Yeah, what happened was that I had said I would never get married again because I was married before. Didn't blame anybody, but I was always on the road, and people grow apart. So I decided I would never get married again, which is ironically I met somebody 3 months after I said that for the last time, and married her. She was originally from New York, so we went to New York, got married in her parents' backyard, and as a father-son-in-law thing, he took me out to eat somewhere. And I simply said, this is the best barbecue I've ever had in my world. And I've been blessed to be all over the place. This is the best I ever had. And he said, well, I know the owner. And the little story went that I was about to pay him $10,000 for a recipe. And then my wife, who I just married, said, don't do that. I didn't want to say anything, but I went to school with his daughters. They told me.
Wow.
I said, well, when we get back to St. Louis, I'm going to try these recipes on some of my employees who are now at this carrier. Once they try it and they like it, and they tell me, you know, as a single group they like it, I'm going to invest my money over the place. But St. Louis is a barbecue town,
exactly.
So you have to be able to come in with a bang. So I decided, look at all their recipes, look at all their menus, and then make sure the pricing was always below theirs, and then look at everything they did and how do you improve it. The best way to improve it is do everything homemade. Make everything homemade, from our sauce to our bread. Secondly, we're going to give you a bigger portion for your money. We don't use St. Louis style ribs because we have to cook our ribs 12 hours. So we use baby back ribs. So we get a bigger, better cut. Everything's made homemade, including desserts. And I knew that if we did that way, it would soon separate us from the pack. Well, 3.5 years, we just won Barbecue of the Year for 2015. Wow. And we don't advertise. We do out of my first location, we did about 28,000 people last year with no advertising. Wow. It's all word of mouth. It's the same way
I heard about it, right? And then with social media, and that's amazing because most days it used to be there was a restaurant chain that never advertised, and then with all the other joints popping up, you know, you see all kind of advertisements and stuff. Yeah. But for you to be as successful as you are and not have to do that sets a precedence, and it says something about, it speaks volumes of what you're serving, what you're doing, and the type of food that you do serve.
Yeah. Well, I tell the people around me, even my wife, if you have a good product and you give people the best customer service they ever had at a great price, then they'll incorporate that and know they feel good when they come in. Right. It's like you're at my house, you're not at my restaurant. You know it's the best ribs you've ever had if you're being honest about it, and then it won't hurt your purse.
Right.
Follow
exactly.
Me? So those three elements get people to we have return customers. And the one thing you don't want to have is churn. You know, that I learned through government. If you got more business you're losing than you got coming out, then you're not churning over anything.
Right.
I've been successful all my life to make sure that I reduce the churn and that the profit margin is always over 40%.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now we're gonna digress from this portion of the restaurant. Talk about you as a motivator and some of the things that you do to motivate. Is it primarily the youth, middle age, adults? Who do you speak to?
It's across the spectrum. I mean, we all have. My mother told me when I was a kid, we all have gifts, and we all hear voices. The problem is we don't ever listen to the voice. Number one, and you don't ever really stop and take time to learn what your gifts are. My gifts are using the word effort, as I mentioned earlier.
Right.
We have two choices in life, especially for black men. You either can follow or you can lead. In the summertime, you look out the window. I would say up May the 15th, you'll see everybody with white T-shirts on, their pants hanging down in braids. If everybody's looking that way, then who the hell's leading?
Exactly.
Follow me? So what I do is, if a church calls me, if a jail calls me, or if a school calls me, I ask, number one, what the subject matter is. What do you want me to address? I take the time to think about that, analyze that data, and then I go in and I promise them that they're going to change. That the whole audience will be changed with that one visit. A repeat visit only makes them better and better and better. Example would be a pastor called me at a huge church here in St. Louis and said they had a tithing problem. Now, I'm not a guy who goes to church every Sunday. I believe in God wholeheartedly, but I don't have the time to always go. So I thought about it. I said, I'll be there next Sunday. Okay, I get there that following Sunday. As I'm pulling through the lot, the first thing I noticed is that every car in the parking lot was a Mercedes, a BMW, or Cadillac. So I go in the back door. I'm behind the curtain. I've been using a wireless mic for 25 years. And I heard a lady goes, "Is it on?" And I kept tapping. Now it's on. And every time I tapped it, I saw people hold their ears to the curtain. And so then I walked out and said, here's my speech. After he had said, here he is. I got Andre Edwards here. We finally got him. They all clapping. So here's my speech. And I'm in a rotunda seating. And I tore it up, threw it on the ground. So I had a great speech, but then I realized, I told your pastor earlier, I'm the guy to come in and impact you quick. I don't have time. Okay. Here's what I noticed. I come to your parking lot. It looks like Plaza Motors out there. And then your pastor and your deacons have a problem with you tithing. So here's what I'll tell you. We use metaphors to describe people. We say a guy that walk in a building, pull a bum, he's a terrorist. He's a fanatical. He got to be crazy. So here's the thing. It comes down to either whether you're involved or committed. Okay. You people, you look good. The cars look good, but you're only involved in religion. I had ham and eggs this morning. The chicken was involved in my breakfast. He laid an egg and walked the hell away. The pig was committed for that piece of ham. It died. I'm willing to die for my commitment. So if you really believe in God, start being committed. How many of you guys are here believe in God? Raise your left hand. Hands came up. So how many of you willing to die right now to go see Him?
Wow.
Hands didn't come up. And that's where it comes in. The people that we judge, for whatever reason they do, they're committed for Allah. They're committed for their cause. We only talk it.
Right.
So, but ironically, the good thing about it, before I got 20 miles away, tithing here went up.
Wow. So you did make an impact. You
made an impact greatly.
Man, this is awesome. Tell us, there's a couple of things. Tell us, how can I get the book, number one? Two Blacks When Your Color Gets in the Way.
You can go online and Google the book, and different places sell it. If the cost is too high, which, trust me, you'll find it's extremely high in some areas, you can call us at 314-368-1894, and we'll get you a copy at $13.95.
Okay. And then you hear this, and this is a great book for our viewers to have as part of in your library. Some great reading. It will impact your life. And then this restaurant is located in South St. Louis, Chippewa, and Kings Highway, South Kings Highway and Hampton Avenue and Chippewa. And it's
6037 Chippewa
in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah,
Okay.
the number here is 314-457-RIBS. RIBS.
Can't miss it.
Can't miss
And
it.
we'll post all that at the end of the show, the contact
Yeah.
information, where to get the book and all of that. And again, call Andre to get the book. And make sure that you get it delivered and everything that you need. Andre, it's been a pleasure.
You too, sir.
I appreciate your time. Of course,
You too.
I'm coming in and get some of this good food. Actually,
I owe you a turkey rib.
you want me a turkey rib? Okay, I'll take you up on that turkey rib. And we're going to show you, the viewers, some, behind the scenes, some of the food. You'll see some behind the scene footage of, how he prepares the various meals that he serves. So you'll get to see all that as well. Because we want you to come and patronize Andre's Ribs here on Chippewa. So,
Excellent size. My wife spends a lot of time back there making those salads.
yeah, it's good. It's really good. You wouldn't be disappointed. If anything, it'll keep you coming back. So once you have Andre's Ribs, you won't go back to anyone else at all. So this is Roger Hunt. We're going to wrap it up here. Roger Hunt with Straight Talk with Roger Hunt Unscripted. I thank you for watching. And again, if you have a show idea or a topic that you would like to hear or see on the air, please contact us at radstarmedia@sbcglobal.net. You'll see that at the bottom of the screen as well. Until the next time, we ask that you be safe, take care of yourselves and of each other. Until then, we'll see you next time.